Week 16, Vikings hosting the Detroit Lions. The Lions are 3-point favorites in this matchup. This is a must-win game for Minnesota. And I want to start with what the Vikings need to do offensively, because it's really quite simple, a two-step process. It's actually more complicated what they need to do defensively. But for the Vikings offense, you're facing a Lions defense that's middle of the pack, but they have some players. Aiden Hutchinson, for example, assuming Brian O'Neill is out again, he's going to be matched up against David Kessenberry at right tackle. That's going to be a key matchup to look out for. Alex Anzalone at linebacker, tough football player. All he does is make plays. They have this safety. I'm sure I'm going to butcher his name, but I'm going to do the best I can. Ifedu Melifonwu. Yo, this dude's nice. He's an all-around safety, makes plays at all three levels. They have him rush the passer. He can make plays against the run. In coverage, he's fast. He can run sideline to sideline. He had a nice one-on-one deep pass breakup against Denver last week. I forgot who the intended target was, but this man ran over, went mano-a-mano, jump for jump with this guy, smacked the ball out of his hands by himself. He's a nice football player. When they blitz Detroit, they're good. Hell, they had Russell Wilson fighting for his life all game long. I would expect the blitz versus Nick Mullins. Why would they not do it against a backup quarterback? So he's going to have pressure in his face. Two simple steps for the Vikings offense. If this was Kirk Cousins, this would be way more in-depth. But because you have Nick Mullins, number one, don't turn the damn football over. Yo, if you nearly had 3 interceptions last week against the Bengals. The one that got called back would have been a pick six if not for an offsides by Cincinnati. If this man turns the ball over again, I'm going to be absolutely insufferable. Step number 2, start Ty Chandler, whether Alexander Mattison is healthy or not. We're going to get into the injury report in just a little bit. But that's what you need to do on the offensive side of the ball if you're Minnesota. Going to the Vikings defense. You're going up against a Lions offense that's 3rd in yardage, 5th in scoring. They have an elite offensive line for 2 reasons. Number 1, they invested high draft capital into their starting unit. They have 3 first-round picks and 2 third-round picks on their starting offensive line. Number 2, it doesn't matter how high you draft a player if the player isn't developed properly by the coaching staff. Hank Fraley, the offensive line coach, has been the O-line coach in Detroit for the last 4 years, and he's done one hell of a job. You could argue that when their unit is healthy, they have the best starting offensive line in the league. Their O-line, outside of RPOs and design quarterback runs, only because of Jared Goff, that's just not in his game, not in his skill set. Outside of those types of plays, this offensive line allows Detroit to have a limitless offense. They can do whatever it is that they want. So the key here is Danielle Hunter needs to have the game of his life as of Wednesday's injury report. And it was a walkthrough estimation. DNP, dealing with an illness. There's a lot of time between now and Sunday, which is good. He needs to have the game of his life. Also, you need to blitz. If you think you're going to be able to generate pressure with a 3 or 4-man front, you are sadly mistaken. And just like against Cincinnati last week, it's all the same. If we have to blitz, which we absolutely have to do, secondary, you need to understand that you're going to be on your own. You're going to be in one-on-one situations. Man up, make plays. What we saw from Mekhi Blackmon just staring into the abyss while T. Higgins stretched the ball over the plane, we can't let that happen. Everybody needs to be on their P's and Q's. And talking about the Lions offensive line being healthy, I found this interesting stat because with the injuries that they've had so far, their left tackle has missed 2 games. Their left guard has missed 5 games. Their center, 2 games. And their right guard and right tackle has played the entire season. No issues. But when healthy, and I'm going to give credit to Will Birchfield because I only know this because of what I saw from him. Will Birchfield is a sports writer on 97.1 The Ticket. Tweeted this out. With a starting offensive line of Decker, Jackson, Ragnow, Glasgow, Sewell, the Lions are 5-0. Undefeated and average in NFL leading 38.4 points per game, 421 yards, 179 yards on the ground, 5.5 yards per carry. And Jared Goff has a passer rating of 121.73. So not only is it tough baseline going up against arguably the best O-line in the league, but they haven't lost when fully healthy. Can you be the first team to break that cycle? Because if not, if Jared Goff, if you allow him to sit back in the pocket with nothing but time, the weapons that he has to work with, Amon-Ra St. Brown pushing 1,200 yards receiving, Sam Laporta, the rookie tight end, already with 9 touchdowns, Josh Reynolds and Jamison Williams, they're dangerous. And so is Jahmyr Gibbs in the passing game, even as a running back. And speaking of the running back position, they run a power running offense. They're second in the league in rushing. Nice 1-2 punch with Jahmyr Gibbs as the RB2 and David Montgomery as the RB1. You have to win the line of scrimmage battle. If you don't, the Vikings risk getting dusted in this game. Now let's go to the injury report here. And boy, it's a doozy. Now, again, it's as of Wednesday, the walkthrough and projecting participation. You've got 3 defensive linemen on the injury report. Jonathan Bullard, Sheldon Day, and Harrison Phillips, interior defensive line. Bullard and Day, both dealing with ankle injuries, were both limited. Harrison Phillips, dealing with a back injury, was a DNP. So potentially being super thin at the interior defensive line group going up against this offensive line is not going to do us any favors. Hopefully they can all be healthy. Jordan Hicks, full participant. Hopefully we can get him back for his return, especially against the run game. Danielle Hunter, depending on the illness that he has, there's a lot of time for him potentially to get healthy for Sunday's game. Alexander Madison, dealing with an ankle issue, was DNP. Whether he's healthy or not, Ty Chandler has to start. Byron Murphy Jr., that hurts, dealing with a hamstring issue. Dealing with a hamstring injury, especially for a guy that plays professional sports that relies on speed, playing cornerback, for example, is not great. He was DNP. Hopefully he can be good to go. Jalen Naylor in concussion protocol. Brian O'Neill, likely he's not going to play, so David Kessenberry is going to fill in for his absence again. This is rough. Obviously, today's injury report is going to be super important as far as seeing which players upgraded compared to yesterday. But at the end of the day, 3 things you have to do if you're the Vikings, if you're going to pull off this upset. 2 on offense, 1 on defense. On offense, Nick Mullins, don't make mistakes. Ty Chandler, start him at running back. He gives you the best chance to win at that position. On defense, win the battle at the line of scrimmage. If you don't, it's going to be a long day on Sunday. Which, by the way, if you haven't been paying attention, we live stream the games or give live commentary and reaction, live streaming during the games. Go ahead and check that out if you want to. I log on about 15 minutes before the start of the game. We'll see you on Sunday.